I said, hey, yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and I'm back with another video. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to talk about everything quant, baby. So, right now, I'm on my website, and I read about a bunch of stuff here, guys. You guys can go to my website. Link is in the bio. But quant is here. We're going to be talking everything quant, everything you need to know from the tokenomics, the background, collaboration, staking, Overledger, MLTs, and some technical analysis, guys. So, if it's your first time here, my name is Mo. I do a lot of research. My specialty is technical analysis, and I don't mean to toot my own horn there, but I'm going to be showing you guys some evidence on that, right? Because if you guys have been following me on Twitter, you guys can see here that, previously for a friend, he asked me what do I think about QNT, and I was saying that we're going to get some continuation. And of course, this is on August 4th. And then, of course, we get a beautiful 20% move to the upside. And, the max target was probably a move to 138, which I kind of mapped out for him. But it doesn't have to reach up to 138. So, all in all, what we did see is basically a pattern forming, which I'm going to be touching more of in this report. So again, you want to make it to the end of the video because I'm going to give you guys a projection on what I think Quant is going to do next. But for me, guys, I like to understand what Quant is. What is the Quant network? What is so special about QNT, and why should we be investing or even consider investing in it? And of course, none of this is financial advice. This is just my personal opinion, and I'm just doing research. And if you ever decide to listen to me because of this video, your portfolio will go to zero. Yeah, just a quick disclaimer there. So first things first, we're going to jump right into this article that I've written, and with the headline starting. This is from a blog post, and it says, excited to announce that our partner Oracle has certified Overledger to deliver interoperability for Oracle blockchain platform. We're now collaborating closely to roll out cross-ledger production ready solutions for client and sectors. So if you look here, basically what you can see is that the Overledger connects every single, block, or not blockchain, but apps together, and we're going to talk more about that. But what you can think of from a baseline and the simpler, more consumable manner is that Quant is looking to connect everything together, right? It can be digital assets, it can be digital networks, and they can communicate in any way that you just decide to program them to, right? And we're going to talk about, again, the Overledger later on this video and what it is, because that is really the key secret sauce to the Quant network and why I think Quant will be successful if it does continue to get more adoption from it. And we're going to cover all of that. So starting off with, what is Quant? Quant is a network that aims to utilize Overledger to connect private and public networks via interoperability. The main purpose of the Quant network is to make it simple for blockchains and networks to bridge together. The secret to Quant's interoperability is the use of DLTs and APIs on the Overledger accordingly. APIs are stringed together on the Overledger, allowing DLTs to work together simultaneously. Quant doesn't even have its own blockchain, but created a network that works jointly, achieving a multi-blockchain network. So there you have it. That is what the Overledger is. Bunch of DLTs, APIs stringed together to work simultaneously. And yeah, and that's really it. It's really that simple. And I think it's funny because Quant doesn't even have its own blockchain. And so QNT token is just a token that's an ERC20 token. And we're going to talk about the use case of that as well. But moving on, right? So Quant background. Quant Network is a Quant Network Limited, which is the entity behind Quant Network. And they're not directly correlated, but it's important to note that the company itself did get incorporated by the founder, ironically enough. And so Quant Network Limited is a project based out of London and founded by Gilbert Verdian and Paulo Tasca. So a lot of people don't know that Paulo Tasca was also a founder of Quant Network, or Quant Network Limited at least, right? And I found this because of Crunchbase. Crunchbase says that Quant Network Limited was created by Paolo Tesca as well, but I don't really see him anywhere else. There's like a few other sources that did show it, but I think it's important to mention him because both founders have a strong background in the private and public sector. Gilbert's background in the public sector includes working at, and let me take a deep breath because this guy is stacked, Ernst & Young, HSBC, BP, PwC. For his private sector experience, he worked at HM Treasury, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Justice UK, Bank of England, and the Federal Reserve System, guys. This guy has some serious background, okay? So we can obviously already see that he understands a lot of things that one might just shrug off if, for lack of better terms. And then we look at Paolo Tesca, which is the other co-founder. He also has a heavy tech background in the banking industry and is an advisor to entities like Hedera, Nexo, United Nations, Bank of Canada, and much more. So if you want to look at more things that he's a part of, you can click here on my website, and there's like a website that it takes you to that is written by Paolo Tesca, and he kind of shows what he's a part of. So something there to look at. Together, they have a heavy technology and financial service understanding of the world. They started Quant Network Limited because they understand that there was a disconnect that needed to be bridged between blockchains. So, I just want to revisit the fact that Gilbert Verdian has such a strong background, and I think even if we go over here, you can see that he has, of course, a website of his own. I think it goes over here as well, talking about where he worked and all the sectors that he was a part of managing. So, it's just a lot of stuff to look at, right? I mean, this is not something that I would just shrug off. I think that, a CEO of a project, you should definitely, or he's not a CEO, guys, because this stuff is decentralized technology, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But basically, the developer, if for lack of better terms, and when I say CEO, I'm talking about CEO of Quant Network Limited, okay? He has a sick background, right? And it's probably the most stacked background I've ever seen for a CEO. You got cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, behavioral analysis, and it's just crazy, right? And so, again, I just wanted to give a moment to just look at this stuff, because when you're researching, you kind of got to know who you're looking at, who's in charge of the project, what background do they have, is any of the background relevant, right? And so, again, it's quite fascinating to see things that he's worked on as well. And it's just, again, this is all the companies that he worked at, and you can clearly see here as well, he was part of the Fed payments system. And it even says to present right now, which is interesting. I think this is a mistake. If you go to his LinkedIn, it's not like that. But, again, this is very, very nice stuff. And again, I feel like people might not give this as much credit as it deserves, because this is not light, okay? So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Moving on, Quant funding and collaboration. So, Quant has been through funding rounds, both seed and ICO, with the following firms: Alpha Sigma Capital and Antonio Furtado, for an undisclosed amount, according to Crunchbase. It is important to note that Quant tried to raise $37 million, but fell flat and only raised $11 million during ICO. So that is one thing that people don't know, that when they launched their ICO, they tried to raise a certain amount of money, but they fell flat. And what he did was, instead of trying to raise all the money, because he only raised like a third of it, right? He burnt the rest of the tokens, right? So that's pretty badass, if you ask me, right? He's like, all right, if these people don't want to buy it, I'm burning the supply, and I'm gonna make sure that I work my ass off to make sure that this protocol does what it's supposed to do. And we can see here clearly, Quant has partnered with Oracle to allow businesses to benefit from multi-DLT solutions. So this was a big deal, guys, Oracle partnering with Quant, because Quant not basically got access to Oracle's clients. And there was an interview where Gilbert Verdian talked about how ever since using Oracle's network, they've been able to get so many more clients, and that's where they'd be able to bridge the gap, right? And so, with this partnership, Oracle certified Quant's Overledger to be used for Oracle's blockchain platform, which allows Quant to receive Oracle's customer base, work with Oracle's product team, and educate users. So as you can see, as I mentioned, together they will try to help build out Quant network to fully realize interoperability. Quant was also recognized by the UK government as a supplier for Cloud Framework and is a part of the Digital Pound Foundation, building a CBDC with other entities like Ripple and Electroneum and others. So if you guys don't know what Digital Pound Foundation is, I think it's an entity that Ripple and Quant is working on. So it's of course very bullish stuff. Ripple is ahead right now when it comes to CBDCs. They have 2 live products, and allegedly there's several other products that they're working on, and Quant being a part of that. Remember, Quant is here to plug everybody in together, so being along with Ripple is going to be definitely beneficial, but they don't need to rely on Ripple either, right? There's obviously going to be a lot of opportunities there, as we see with Oracle, and there are even other partnerships that I can't even cover in this video because it's going to take too much time, right? I want to keep this thing to the point to get as much information so that you guys can get the main idea of what Quant is. And moving on to token information, tokenomics. Quant is an ERC20 token that is used on the Ethereum network. Currently, the total supply of QNT is 14,612,493 with a circulating supply of 13 million, or I'm just going to say 13.5 million, right? So Quant is used by enterprise participants and communities to pay for the annual licensing fee. So again, this is a little bit of what the use case is. Quant is also used as a payment method to transact within the Overledger. Accordingly, it is important to note that a licensing fee must be measured in the dollar amounts, not in QNT. So buying a license on the Quant network will be $1,000, and that is, it doesn't matter. It's $1,000 regardless of the price of QNT. So whether QNT goes up or down, it's $1,000. And the token breakdown of QNT is absent and not disclosed on the white paper or by the CEO. So basically, that's one thing that I couldn't find. If anybody finds that, please feel free to share it. I do think that tokenomic transparency is very good, right? Whether it's about how much the team holds, whether it's a supply schedule, vesting, things like that are very, very important, and it just shows the transparency of a project. And that's the one thing that I'm missing from Quant. But I will say, though, I'm not super worried, only because of how little amount of tokens currently exist. And so, it's not a lot. And so again, when I wrote this is 953, it's still the same. So probably something funny is happening. Or let's take a look at CoinMarketCap as well, so we can compare to see what the hell is going on there. This says 12 million, so somebody's clearly wrong. But I think it's important to know how many tokens are there. And again, this stuff is not really clear, and that's why I think CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko don't have a real answer, right? And so I know you can also check on Etherscan to see how many tokens exist if you go into maybe writing up some program that gives you the information, right? But of course, that's going to be a lot, and we would hope that there's probably something out there. But again, according to a video from Coin Bureau, the company held 4.5 million tokens, and the remaining 9.9 million are circulating in the market as of November 2020. So this was, of course, before all the tokens were in circulation, or before at least 13 million tokens were circulating. So that is interesting. And I think, wait, I might have missed something. Yeah, no, I didn't miss anything. But yeah, I mean, this was from November 2020, so 9.9 million tokens were circulating at the time, and I think, the rest of the tokens were, of course, held by the Quant team. Then again, this is from Coin Bureau, so I don't know if this stuff has changed, right? And this is what I mean: the lack of transparency when it comes to tokens, and of course, this any supply schedule is not there. So if anybody has it, feel free to comment. But all in all, I don't appreciate that the tokenomics are not clear, right? Especially because I like what Quant is doing. I think that being more clear on the tokenomics is probably something that is missing. But maybe I'm missing something. Please let me know in the comments below. Moving on to staking. Quant is a native token for the Quant protocol. Quant tokens have the option for their coins to be staked. At the moment, there is no available platforms to stake their coins. In the past, vendors like KuCoin and gateway operators allowed a stake with the treasury for high priority in transaction or according to Binance. Quant staking rewards go from 2.5 to 15%, but decreased as the supply gets closer. Circulating supply gets closer to total supply. So of course, whenever this number gets closer to the total supply, you'll see staking rewards pretty much go down, which is very, very normal. And there's nothing right now that I know of as well. So I wrote this on July 11th. Right now, I don't know about any other platforms that offer staking, right? So again, let me know if you guys see it. I would love to know. And so moving on to the secret sauce, Overledger, MAPs and MLTs. The Quant network has core components like the Overledger network and the Overledger OS. The Overledger OS is a patent protected technology that enables access to multi-chain apps. Instead of using smart contracts, MAPs operate on a treaty contract that allow one to build applications on multiple blockchains. And this would mean that any MAP that are built may be compatible with any other blockchains on the Overledger. So this is cool. So once you're compatible with the network, you can pretty much use an MAP across any of the other blockchains that are connected to the Overledger. So, I would only imagine how many applications are going to be built like this. And that is a really cool feature on the Overledger. And then we go on to read that the Overledger network is what enterprises, developers utilize to access the apps that are created. And by paying an annual licensing fee, others can join, buy, sell their MAPs on the Overledger. So this is another thing. There's a marketplace on the Overledger. So this is another interesting idea, because what kind of products will be sold on the Overledger, and how does that look, right? Like, does the product get sold and that's it? Is it like some type of like royalty? Like I don't even know what to even think of if someone were to buy and sell certain apps, right? So that's going to be really cool to see, depending on how big this network gets. But again, the flexibility is there, right? There's options for developers to build on here, which is exciting. The Overledger is the bread and butter of the Quant network and needs continuous adoption should it continue to grow. The Quant network also supports multi-ledger tokens, which is digital assets pegged to fiat, which is usually from an institution. With MLTs, Quants may serve any institution that wishes to create a stablecoin or even CBDCs. MLTs give the Quant network an extra layer of versatility to expand its network. So there's a lot of complexities to this, but to make it simple, again, these options like MLT and MAPs are going to be very, very useful. And as you guys can see, Quant is not bringing in people for silly projects. Okay, they're working with pretty big institutions, right? We saw that they're part of the Digital Foundation, right? Recently there was another partnership that I don't even want to dig into right now. I think it was called Nexi, right? And of course, Oracle as well. And so CBDCs are most likely coming to the Quant network, to the Overledger. MLTs are definitely probably going to be minted by other institutions for their stablecoins on the Quant network. And realistically, the sky is the limit. And so we're just going to have to watch closely. I think that over time, all of it will play out, which leads me to the TA, right? Which kind of just shows, like the network, for lack of better terms. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can look at a chart and know if there's like confidence or like a use case for a coin. And I hate to say it, but sometimes when something moves the way that Quant is, there's definitely a reason to be bullish, right? And so Quant has had an amazing run from 16 cents, guys. Good God almighty. What is this, September 2019 or 18? It went from 16 cents to $427, yielding 2,500x returns, for the love of God. Ever since QNT hit all-time highs, we have seen price fall towards a high time frame demand zone, green box there, which should act as a support region, which it has, guys. So as you can see, it has acted as support, and we saw it go higher, right? So obviously I wrote this in July, and this was a resistance, and I said it was a resistance because, again, like I said, if you guys are following me on Twitter, you guys already know this is the area that was the resistance. As it was breaking into it, I kind of said that either way, we get the last move to 138, right? And that's exactly what happened. We're going to cover that in a second. And bottom structures take a long time to form. The way that this move subdivides into this red box, will be really important, and it's best to be patient for a clear pattern. So, there is a possibility that we have a flush, and if we do get that wick zone territory down to $14, it's possible. I hate to say it, but listen, as an investor, I got to be open to every scenario, right? But right now, that seems extremely unlikely, right? So I'm going to be very honest as well, right? Because we've 3x'd off the lows here and a lot of strength into the red box, which kind of gives me confidence that QNT is probably going to start moving or consolidating here. But of course, this is written July 11th, so I just want to remind you guys that is when I saw it. And so, it's just going to be kind of a chill time right now, right? And so when we look at the chart today, right, the time of the tweet was right here, right? So this was at the time of the tweet. I said that we're going to run up to 138. We didn't exactly get there, but for anyone who has been following me long enough, sometimes price points don't exactly go to where you expect, right? And so that's why I don't say things like, I would take profits at this price, like dollar range, right? Or I would do this and that. It's up to you to decide. But 138, the reason why I mentioned that was because at the top here, this is a supply zone, and basically, again, we're now consolidating after we fell. So after hitting 138 or 132, price fell sharply. So I basically called a very good top area on this tweet, right? Either way, that was the last move here. So this is very, very important to note that, I kind of called the move up, and then I called out where the resistance is going to be. And as you guys saw, price fell. And it fell 34%. And where are we today? That leads us here. Okay, so this is the whole entire QNT chart, right? And we can't look this up, unfortunately, because we have CoinMarketCap, which TradingView doesn't show all the information. But I guess what I can do is try to use CoinPaprika. Let's see if it helps us out here, and gives us the information that we need. So CoinPaprika is pretty cool. Sometimes it gives us everything. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, I'll just do it from here. So what we can see, guys, is that we had this major uptrend, right? And we're kind of had a sell-off, and now we're seeing basically a retrace, right? And we're also seeing some type of V bottom here, right? And so this, to me, is very bullish, okay? Because this is basically an inverse head and shoulders, and this is the big contingency. As long as we hold this area, there's no reason why we don't go back up again. And I'm not calling for all-time highs, guys. I'm sorry I'm not a moon boy, okay? But I like to be realistic. I like to tell you guys the truth, and I like to tell my followers or the people who are staying tuned to these videos, which I appreciate, the truth, okay? I'm not a moon boy. I'll tell you the truth. The next target is going to be $221. And of course, depending on how we get to this area, will determine how the next move plays out, right? Because for those who have been in this market long enough, understand that if the price chops like this, right? Chop, 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 chop. That's weak. This trend is weak. But if we get strong moves like this, look at this move right here. This is a very powerful move to the upside, right? And when I say this, I'm talking about this right here. That is powerful, okay? That is not choppiness. That is pure, strong move to the upside. If we can mimic that type of price action, to 221, can't even talk, to $221, that is bullish. This is what we want to see, right? And then when the price falls again, that is where maybe you might want to look at an area where you might want to exit for the lack of better terms there, right? So again, very, very contingent on how price moves, and a lot of things can change, guys. I could be bullish at this moment, but if new data presents itself, then I'm going to change my bias. That's just the truth of this market. Just because I'm bullish right now does not mean I'll be bullish tomorrow, because tomorrow something can happen to the network. What if something catastrophic happens, right? That will be displayed in the price action, okay? And I hope nothing bad happens, but that's the reality. When you invest, this is the type of stuff you must be prepared for. And, again, it takes me back to this chart here. As long as we can hold here, I just 100% believe that we're headed to 221. And depending on how we get to 221, that will probably determine how high we go afterwards. So that is, again, something to watch. But I will say this has done a lot of damage already. So do you also want to invest in a token that has done this much of a move to the upside, right? It's already up 2,500x. And that I can't really answer for you guys. I still do believe that it will continue going up, and I still do believe it can make a new all-time high, right? I mean, it can even hit 10,000. It's very, very possible. But I just want to tell you guys that because I just think that sometimes people might be illogical in their thought process, but you know, something to mention. And also, this right here is literally the pattern that we're looking for, which I thought was quite funny, right? So this is a drifting upwards pattern that we saw before on QNT, and we're also seeing here as well. So as long as it mimics this kind of price action, hey, listen, we're getting ready to move to the upside. And so that is what I'm watching for, contingent it goes sideways, right? So moving on. Quant network is an interesting protocol because it doesn't have its own blockchain. The network is tied together with APIs, making it extremely easy for developers, governments, and enterprises to get involved, right? There's no special thing you must do except to get on the Overledger. Additionally, Quant is attractive in that manner because it bridges together different blockchains. Quant also has seen adoption from governments and enterprises, proving the necessity of interoperability. MLTs and MApps also give the extra flexibility for developers. Despite Quant's smaller market size compared to its competitors, there's a lot of like protocols out there for interoperability, but I think this gives Quant that advantage because a lot of people might not know about it, so it could be good. And you know, that's something to look out for. I believe the network will continue to grow, and Gilbert's Verdian's background makes me bullish on what's next to come for this network. I can't wait to watch what's to come. Lastly, I am excited to watch Quant Network. While I am excited to watch what Quant Network will do next, it doesn't mean it's correlated to the value of QNT. So just a little disclaimer there, just in case people might get extremely bullish on you know justice or maybe what I'm saying. I just want you guys to know that not everything I say could be correct. I could have mistaken something in this research that I've done myself, and I could be completely wrong on certain aspects. But for the most part, I feel very confident in this. I feel very confident in what's to come with the Quant network, and I think that again, price is probably going to consolidate here as long as the market doesn't do anything crazy. So I'll be watching to see what comes next, and I'm very, very excited for the network overall. And again, if you guys made it this far in the video, I really appreciate a like and a sub because it helps the algorithm. And leave a comment below, tell me what I've missed or what your favorite part of Quant Network is. And as always, haro haro haro, peace.